Hello and welcome to the final episode of Failed Experiment Shark Week, where I'm going to teach you about some of the many kinds of sharks that we humans keep in captivity. This lesson is going to be a bit more structured with each shark's size, diet, and location, as well as maybe some fun facts about each. To start off, we'll talk about some benthic species. Horned sharks can reach about 3.9 feet, but most are 3.3 feet. Typically for a diet, they hide during the day and hunt at night for mollusks, echinoderms, and crustaceans, as well as a wide variety of other invertebrates and small bony fishes as adults. As juveniles, softer-bodied prey such as polychaeta, worms, and sea anemones are their main source of food. You can find these sharks on the continental shelf of the Pacific Ocean off the coast of California and Baja California from Monterey Bay southward, and in the Gulf of California. They are found at depths of 6.6 to 36.1 feet, 98 feet during the winter, and in caves as deep as 660 feet. Juveniles prefer deep sandy flats with low vertical relief 130 to 490 feet deep, whereas the adults typically like shallower rocky reef or algal beds. These are sharks you can't pet at aquariums because their dorsal fins have spines. Leopard sharks, which grow from 3.9 to 4.9 feet, typically feed on clams, spoonworms, shrimp, bony fish, and fish eggs. They're common near the coast in water less than 13 feet deep in bays and estuaries, swimming over muddy flats or rock-strewn areas near kelp beds and reefs. They are found in the northeastern Pacific Ocean from the waters of Coos Bay, Oregon to the tropical waters of Mazatlan, Mexico, including the Gulf of California where most are fished. These sharks are characterized by the black marks along their backs, and they are the ones typically in shark petting areas. Cat sharks, of which most species are small, no longer than about 2.6 inches, though some like the nursehound can reach 5.2 feet, feed on benthic invertebrates and smaller fish. They are also bottom feeders. You can find more than 11 species of these sharks that inhabit the bank, a 155-mile swath of continental shelf off the southeast coast of South Africa. This family of sharks is also the largest family of sharks with around 160 species. Our final benthic shark species in captivity is the zebra shark. These sharks typically grow up to 8.2 feet, with nocturnal feeding habits, spending most of the day resting motionless on the seafloor, where at night they hunt for mollusks, crustaceans, small bony fishes, and possibly sea snakes. These sharks are found throughout the tropical Indo-Pacific around coral reefs and sandy flats to depths of 203 feet, from South Africa to the Red Sea and the Persian Gulf, to India and Southeast Asia, northward to Taiwan and Japan, eastward to North Caledonia and Tonga, and southward to northern Australia. These sharks are also endangered worldwide since it is fished for its meat, fins, and liver oil. Next, we're going to get into some larger sharks. Bull sharks typically grow to 7 to 11.5 feet, and their diet consists of bony fish, smaller sharks, including other bull sharks, turtles, birds, dolphins, terrestrial mammals, crustaceans, and echinoderms. Typically, you can find them in warm oceans, rivers and lakes, and occasionally salt and freshwater streams if deep enough. Usually above 98 feet, but up to 490 feet. Bull sharks have an aggressive nature most of the time and are known to even swim up the Mississippi as far as Alton, Illinois. Next, we have sandbar sharks, where males grow up to 5.9 feet and females grow from 6.6 to 8.2 feet. Their diets consist of fish, rays, and crabs, and you can find them in the Atlantic Ocean and Indo-Pacific, commonly over muddy or sandy bottoms in shallow coastal waters, such as bays, estuaries, harbors, and the mouths of rivers, but they also swim in deeper waters, 650 or more feet deep, and in intertidal zones. These sharks are distinguishable by their high first dorsal fin. Next, we have sand tiger sharks. These sharks grow up to 10.5 feet, have a diet of bony fish, crustaceans, squid, skates, and other sharks, and are found in subtropical and temperate waters worldwide, the continental shelf, and sandy shorelines and submerged reefs to a depth of around 627 feet in the waters of Japan, Australia, South Africa, and the east coast of North and South America. The sand tiger shark used to be in the Mediterranean, but the last sighting was in 2003, so they are presumably extinct there. They can also gulp air from the surface, allowing it to be suspended in the water column with minimal effort. However, these sharks are critically endangered, which is why them being the most widely kept large shark in public aquariums with a high tolerance for captivity is so important to preserve their existence. Next, we have lemon sharks, which grow up to 11 feet and often feed at night, mostly on fish. These sharks are often found in shallow subtropical waters and are known to inhabit specific nursery sites for breeding. This includes coral reefs, mangroves, enclosed bays, and river mouths, along with the open ocean at depths up to 301 feet, though they stay along the continental and insular shelves most of their lives. Lemon sharks also swim in groups with enhanced communication, courtship, predatory behavior, and protection from other members. Nurse sharks grow up to 9 feet and feed primarily on small fish like stingrays and some invertebrates including crustaceans, mollusks, and tunicates, using suction to bring them in with the strongest suction force of any aquatic vertebrate to date. These sharks can be found in tropical and subtropical coastal waters of the eastern Atlantic, western Atlantic, and eastern Pacific. They are inshore bottom dwellers with juveniles found on the bottom of shallow coral reefs, seagrass flats, and around mangrove islands, while older individuals typically reside in and around deeper reefs and rocky areas where they tend to shelter in crevices and under ledges during the day and go to feed in shallow areas at night. Nurse sharks are slow and sedentary as well. They are able to rest along the ocean floor by sucking water in to pass it through their gills. This is why they are typically found along the bottoms of aquarium tanks with other sharks like sand tigers. Blacktip reef sharks grow up to 5.2 feet long and have a diet of small bony fish, cephalopods, crustaceans, sea snakes, and seabirds. They are found on tropical reefs of the Indian and Pacific Oceans, shallow inshore waters, and over reef ledges and sandy flats, but sometimes in brackish and freshwater environments. They are most often in the shallows but have been found as deep as 246 feet. These sharks are characterized by the black tip of its fins, especially the dorsal fin, and are timid and skittish, so it rarely poses a danger to humans unless roused by food, though they will sometimes mistakenly bite the legs of people wading through shallow water. Next is the whale shark, which the largest confirmed individual was 61.7 feet. A 39.7 foot specimen reportedly had a 5.1 foot across mouth, and males on average reach 26 to 30 feet, while females usually reach 48 feet. These sharks are filter feeders, almost exclusively eating plankton and small fish, and pose no threats to humans. They are often found in open waters of tropical oceans since they are rarely found in water below 70 degrees Fahrenheit. However, they are both coastal and oceanic, with inshore surface swimming between sunrise and mid-afternoon before they regularly dive up to 1,600 feet, but spend a lot of time around 660 feet in the afternoon and overnight. The deepest recorded dive of a whale shark was 6,325 feet, making it the deepest diving fish ever recorded. If you couldn't tell or didn't know already, their name is derived from its size, and these sharks are characterized by white spots that cover their top size. These sharks are also the largest living non-mammalian vertebrate and are very endangered. These sharks are often struck and sometimes killed by boats since they are usually found swimming near the surface, with cuts along their backs being common. Two aquariums where you can find whale sharks are the Georgia Aquarium and the Okinawa Chirami Aquarium in Japan. White sharks typically aren't found in captivity for several reasons. One is that there's not enough room for them to swim. In the wild, white sharks normally travel large distances as migratory creatures, for example, swimming from Mexico to Hawaii yearly in the Pacific. To do so, they often travel at quite high speeds, which they cannot do in captivity. In the wild, white sharks swim at around 15 miles per hour most of the time, but can reach top speeds of 25 miles per hour, potentially even 35 in short bursts when hunting. They can even jump 8 to 10 feet out of the water. In a tank, white sharks do not have a large expansive space like the open ocean and cannot swim fast enough to get enough oxygen into their gills. This causes them to weaken and eventually suffocate from a lack of oxygen. Another issue is just the overall size of the sharks. Male white sharks usually grow to 11 to 13 feet long, and females grow to 15 to 16 feet on average. Tells us you need a very, very large enclosure. In captivity, white sharks have also tended to refuse to eat and need help swimming, repeatedly slam against the sides of their tanks, and potentially die from depression. They can also only be held in captivity when they are young and only eat fish, since it would be difficult to procure the seals, sea turtles, and small whales that they typically eat when they are older. The longest living white shark in captivity was at Monterey Bay Aquarium, where it survived for 198 days versus a normal day to 2 weeks with all other captive white sharks. It was held in an almost 1 million gallon tank that was nearly 35 feet deep. At the time, the young shark was only just under 4 feet long, but it had to be released after it attacked and killed 2 other non-great white sharks that were in the tank with it. Since then, no other infant white shark that Monterey Bay tried to captivate made it to 198 days. And with that, Failed Experiment Shark Week is over. Gone. Kaput. Until maybe next year. Hopefully over this week you've learned something about these fantastic creatures that roam our oceans from wavy surface to sandy bottom. Don't support shark fishing, stay safe, and have a good one. Don't fear the seas.